Hi, I'm Ashley Billington, and you're watching The Warmup, presented by your local Houston area Geico agents in Cypress, Spring, Pearland, and East Houston. A new year, but we still have great football going on, as there's only 2 more weeks in the season as we've moved on to the semifinals of Texas high school football playoffs. These are some of the games you'll be seeing highlights of on this week's episode of Inside High School Sports. Crosby is taking on Liberty Hill in the semifinals. Last week, the Cougars took down Fort Bend Marshall 37-28. They have now beaten the number 3, 4, and 5 teams in the state. The Cougars are currently on their deepest playoff run since 2014. In their win, they relied on Reggie Branch's 4-touchdown performance, a 28-point fourth quarter, and timely defensive stands. They have a tough one in Liberty Hill, as they won their last game without a yard of passing offense and had 717 yards of rushing. This will be an interesting matchup for the Cougars, as they will need to buckle down their defense. In 6A Division I, the Katy Tigers and Buda Hayes are going head-to-head. The Tigers are 12-1 and 2 wins away from a state title. They defeated Clear Falls 51-14 for the Region 3 title. Katy has been its dominant self more often than not, outscoring opponents 574-145, and recording its 9th victory of 30 or more points in the regional final. Seth Davis led the offense with 170 yards and 2 touchdowns with 19 carries. Caleb Koger accounted for 3 touchdowns for the Tigers. If they beat Buda Hayes, they could be meeting their most common state championship opponent, Cedar Hill, at Jerry World. 2 of the most prominent high school football programs in the state, Austin Westlake and North Shore, are going at it for a chance to play for the state title. The Mustangs raced out to a 28-7 halftime lead on Friday at Galena Park ISD Stadium over Ridgepoint before taking the Panthers down in the second half with an eventful 56-14 victory. Demetrius Davis finished 6 of 9 for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns against Ridgepoint. He also rushed for 92 yards and 3 scores. At the end of the day, Davis had 6 touchdowns and 248 total yards for the Mustangs. Over the past 3 seasons, North Shore has amassed an overall record of 45-1 and has won 16 straight playoff games dating back to 2018. So many great games and only 2 weeks left in the season. I cannot believe state is almost here. We will have all of those games and more that you'll be seeing highlights of on this week's episode of Chevy's Inside High School Sports. Also, make sure you vote on our Hot Play of the Week poll presented by Louisiana Hot Sauce for a chance for your community to move on to compete for the Play of the Year. Here's last week's winner. Fort Bend Marshall lost to Crosby in the quarterfinal round of playoffs, but that did not take away from their awesome 2020-2021 season, as they had a slew of accomplishments. And even though they won't be going to Jerry World, their season earned them our local Houston area Geico agents Team of the Week.
Well, I mean, what's interesting is I didn't have any idea. I was this year won our 100th game. And that's what I will never say that I won my 100th game, because there's so many people who are involved in that success. There's so many people who have helped us get to this point. And after our first playoff game, we beat Port Neches Grove. And after the game, my wife was walking up with a 100 shirt on, and my coaches have shirts on. I'm looking around like, what are y'all doing? And I didn't realize it was our 100th victory at Marshall High School. And I'm very proud of that. Very proud of the success that we've had. Again, it's not my award, it's our coaching staff's award. It's these players' award, because we could not do that without young men like Kenny and Devon A. Chan and all the guys way back from Tyler White my first year, and DeAndre Washington my first year, and all the way through. And it's such an honor to have that success. And I mean, these kids in this community, they deserve it. They're hardworking kids. They're great kids. They deserve to have that success. And I'm just honored to be able to lead this program and to reach milestones like that.
Honestly, it's a lot like a brotherhood. I mean, we get new kids, new transfers that would come in every year. We'd welcome them in. They'd be like family to us, and then we'd get to work. That's really what defines like who Marshall is. I would say there's a lot of kids that get after it, a lot of kids that are hungry, who may not have like just perfect living conditions, but just come out every day and give it everything they got every single practice.
We will also have a great Chevy Spotlight coming at you on this week's episode of Chevy's Inside High School Sports. This week, we are introducing you to the Clearbrook basketball team, who's undefeated to start the season.
Our kids' workman-like attitude towards basketball. Our kids are in the gym before and after practice. They bought into our defensive system. They love to practice defense, and it shows on the court on game days. Our kids have set an expectation for themselves to be the best Clearbrook team that's ever come through here. A good example of that was we beat Dickinson for the first time in several years this past Saturday. And I walked into the locker room and I expected them to be celebrating and happy. And they were happy, but they were still criticizing their own play. They said, "Coach, we didn't play real well in the first half. We were down 9 at halftime." They said we could have boxed out better and the game wouldn't have been as close. So the expectation that they've set for themselves is pretty incredible and definitely led to our success so far.
Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the warm-up, the extra point. Can you outdo Joseph Manjack in this week's game?
Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, Houston Texans, the Colts, Jaguars, Patriots, Jets, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. I feel like I'm missing a couple more. The Chiefs, the Dolphins.
Big congrats to a former bobblehead winner, Marshall alumni, and A&M running back, Devon A. Chain, as he earned the MVP of the Orange Bowl for his awesome performance. He had 12 carries for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. Southlake Carroll's head coach Riley Dodge cannot suit up on the sidelines to lead his team in the semifinals of playoffs this week. He went to Twitter to voice his disappointment. Well, Hightower head coach Joseph Sam knows all too well what Dodge is feeling, and he gave Riley Dodge some words of comfort, saying, "The culture will get you through it, coach. I had to deal with not being with my guys in playoffs as well." That's all we have for this episode. Follow all of Inside High School Sports social accounts to stay up to date on everything going on in the high school sports scene. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube that throughout the week will get you ready for the main event. Chevy's Inside High School Sports on KHU 11 at 11 p.m. hosted by Matt Musil. Thanks for watching this week's episode of The Warm-Up, presented by your local Houston area Geico agents in Cypress Spring, Pearland, and East Houston. To get more information or a quote, go to geico.com/Houston. I'm Ashley Bullington. I hope you're warmed up for all of the playoff action coming your way on Inside High School Sports. And Happy New Year!